So yeah, part 2 is, where do you think wisdom is sought?
Wisdom is something other people tell you, and something you might learn yourself if no one knew it before.
Wisdom isn't just about what other people tell you either. That's a part of it. Correct.
Yeah.
It's not just how you go the road
Yes.
and what mistakes you learn. It's part of it, correct, but not the full road. Learning from other people's mistakes. There's another way. Watching and thinking. Most people don't do enough of that. But still, there's an abundance of stuff to be had in this little niche of the universe. Just this little snippet. And the tribulations, trials, and all things that seem to be going down at this present moment are nothing more than to try and test.
Yeah.
To wake everything up. You've got to remember something though. Perhaps you haven't got to, but it would ought to pay it mind. Are humans capable of not only lifting themselves, not only saving themselves, but quite capable of saving all the animals too?
They are capable of that.
What would you be journeying towards?
Would they really save all the animals? Infinite animals like that.
Everything has a purpose. And the steps towards meeting the Creator. Oh yes. Bring in all of the things that the universe decided was to rise up with you. And if it unlocked this in you, then taking those as the song goes, all things great and small, yes. This does begin to obsolete war, because a new battle will be forged. A new way forward will take precedence. Precedence? Everybody has a purpose in that. The everyday working kind of patters out, but a new one phases in. Money, I believe it starts to dwindle. And that's also things that have been held for wealth, stuff like that. Bigger landmass. I own all of this. This is all. I think all of that begins to get looked at in a different light. And a new importance emerges. A new value emerges inside the minds of every being on the planet. Oh, it's powerful stuff. It is very powerful. Once sparked, it begins to explode into all of the minds. Like a firework that explodes and then explodes again and then explodes again. That is how it sparks within people's minds. Massive geodes of forests. No longer reliant on the earth cycles of change and constantly being interrupted and can't grow and can't do that. No. In a place that is uniform in temperature, with its needs met. How much more fruit could grow in a uniform environment if nature was fed every single thing it needed? What about humans? How long would they last if everything was pure? The food that was growing in a pure environment. Earth? Yeah, sure, it's been good little cradle. But it has its flaws. Perhaps not in the beginning as when it was set in motion. Perhaps it was more stable then. Cleaner air, less polluted, this, that and the other. A bit more balanced in the cycles and seasons. But as it begins to rotate, it begins to lose its momentum and start to topple. You see, that's the thing with pride. No, I want to stay here and do all of this stuff. Then you are all doomed to die with that. That's how it is. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. If we stay here playing this game, then die with it. That's the wake-up call. That's it. Filling that void in the stars. The void, you know, the void that's there. That ought to be filled with another Earth. And solar system as we know it. A star that is capable of being balanced. No more fluctuations in heat waves and solar corpusculus activity, let's say. Radiation, CMEs. No. One that is more balanced. An Earth that is more tempered. No. Yes. One that is more calm. Resonating. So that you barely even realize you're in it. One where a temperature is not too hot and not too cold. Places for penguins and stuff like that. A place that is very cold for them. And it's never ever really that warm. Just the way they like it. With all of these semantics or systems running away. And things become more clean. More cleanly. Where we become a bit more aware. How much more longer do you think you could live for? If we stay on Earth, you run out of time. Because you'll die with the star. You'll die with a meteorite. You'll die with climate change. You'll die with this, that, and the other. I'm on the extreme ends of everything right now. However, if you've got the capability to do something about it, and you do something about it, and you have a lot of minds, and the planet fizzles out after 500 years, and you remain for another 1,000, and then another 1,000 on top of that, and then another 1,000 on top of that, you will already be entering into a realm of knowing stuff that you shouldn't know, because you are destined to die with the star. It's odd that if you lose certain types of animals or beings, that they might hold keys. What do you think Einstein could have done with more time? What if he was around for 1,000 years? Do you think he would have answered more? What about if Tesla was around for 1,000 years? What if he was around for an eternity? The amount of knowing and growing that would occur. The amount of breakthroughs that could keep on breaking through. Just when you thought you knew it all, wow, next year comes a load more. Next century comes a load more. Next century comes a load more. Everybody's got their own, I don't know, purpose. Everyone's a Tesla in their own right. Everyone is an Einstein in their own right. Everyone holds significance knowing that not other people know. And they're very relevant. Perhaps it's not seen now, but later on, that info might be needed. Once lost, can never be replaced. If the Earth was destined to die after 1,000 years from now, but you go on beyond it, all the animals go on beyond it, all of them, every single thing on the planet is lifted, and you make yourself your own star with your own Earth. It doesn't have to look like the Earth. A watering system is constant in a state of flowing and purification. Not the case of drinking from a river, urinate in the river, the next person drinks part urine and water until you get to the bottom and that stream turns golden. No, no. Always everybody has access to the fresh water. What they let out goes into another set of rings, ready for purification. And then only then, when that is purified, it is then let back in for you to drink again. Everybody. Air that is breathed out. It is cleaned. And then it is put back in for you to breathe again. So your lungs drink pure air. If there is a meteorite with systems that go, I think that they're also known as scouters, that go way, way, way beyond your, if you want to call it a ship, a geode, another Earth, Gaia 2, whatever it may be. They scout really far advanced, ahead of you, your ship. The speed of light, too slow. Atomic technologies will need to be understood.
Yeah.
Because they need to be able to send that information now. Not at the speed of light. It needs to be sent at the now ratio in order for you to then start, timing is everything, and being able to move away from a meteorite or an object that's coming towards your craft, your life, your everything. You must maneuver before. And the more time you have, the more success you have. Then there is rendezvousing with other beings. You might find them. They might be on the same journey as what you are. They came from another area of the universe, around different elements, around different sets of knowing. They went in different directions. You went in your own unique direction here. One and one holding on to this information selfishly, both of you will not work. However, if you got under the understanding of sharing this knowledge, what they learn in 100,000 years and you learn in 100,000 years will not take either side 100,000 years to learn it, because they'll show you how to get there quicker. You'll show them how to get there quicker. You don't teach them all of the errors, there's no point. You teach them all of the truths. When you begin to do this, this is when you then exchange knowledge, medicine. What if you have a type of nature, or they have a type of gas that interacts with your gas, that when you both breathe this particular gas, it makes you live even longer than you could ever imagine. causes the fruits on both sides to explode exponentially massive amount that you could ever imagine. Therefore, allowing you to feast indefinitely, and enough abundance left over to regerminate again over and over and over. More than enough for each one, because you think about it, when we eat seeds, we are eating tree eggs in a way. If we eat more of those, then that is life being took from, yes, the flesh. It's very bizarre to see it in nature is very much in reverse to what you are. It's interesting anyway, but it is and it isn't.
You are eating another life.
Yes. Finding ways to adapt trees that make them absorb more faster. Not to take over the current trees, no. To go in there and aid the trees so that they can have a little bit of a break. They still live too. So they have a right just as much as anything else has a right. But this on Earth is good, but life has become so infested on the planet that even your walking is sacrifice. Imagine what's beneath your feet every time you walk. The life forms that are depleted in just movement for you to walk freely. That's a sacrifice. But if it yields a greater good at the end of it, and that was a sacrifice then I guess worth taking. Again, if religious individuals that would feel very much tethered to the planet, that perhaps God wouldn't want you to leave the planet or do anything about your fate, I would say that God would want you to do something about your fate, because that's the exact reason why He instilled in you the ability to do something about your fate. It, he, no offense, she, Shim, if it's one of the two, gave you that power. It did not make you a snail that is unable to do something about its fate, but relies on you to do something about your fate and to be selfless and to do something about their fate too. If you were given something and you took it, then you have to give too. Back at the time of Noah's Ark, help this fuel your story and help this fuel you. That was with the current knowledge, capability of past time. Close to being ready, but not quite. Just not there yet. Now things have moved forwards beyond what you can imagine from their perspective. God made you a kingdom, if you call it that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now it's time to make yours. Yeah. Beautiful, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm going to leave this one here for now. I could really stretch this one open because I like it. But collecting water from Europa would be a great thing if it is indeed salt water. Using the star to forge metals. Jupiter, if we say so, is with a metallic core, so believed. Mars with its core all the way across the planet. this metal can be used. The gases of another planet can be siphoned off for movement so you don't deplete everything from the Earth too quickly. Cutting off the nose despite the face is probably not the way to go. But using the influence of the sun's sheer heat to start forging geodes, to store the water, to move it closer to the sun, to evaporate it fast, contained, so that it leaves the salt crystals behind and you can purify the salt water into fresh. That would be something that would need to be done while the sun is here. The heat is there. The influence can be used. There's an abundance of sand everywhere. Although glass and don't throw stones in glass houses, we'll remove the stones and you've got glass houses. So these can also be used. Glass it would be the easiest thing to make if metals were harder to find. And again, vacuums seem to work well in glass. You take flasks, for example. Yes, and it holds in...
Conserves, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. It's very pure, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Sand being quite abundant. This is more abundant, it appears, than metal. To start with, things like this would probably would be a better alternate in finding ways to shade it, shield it, refract the light, make it orbit, different gases. Yeah, interesting. Very interesting. But dual layers of this, I think, is good, and valves and different valves, pressure valves, just in case you don't want to get them too pressurized, and you don't want it under that either, less than that. You've seen some of the inflatables that you've got, and when the pressure gets too much, it inflates into a material that can cope with it, and then when the pressure starts to subside, that pressure pushes back into the, so you don't lose any of your gases, and it can still pressurize without exploding anything or shattering any of the and then that put into an overall protective casing then protects it from anything else. I mean, all of this is here. It just takes a careful eye and willing hands to begin to build it. And sure, it might not be used in your lifetime, but the future generations, they most certainly will. And I think that instilling into them these types of knowings is very important. That we take care of all creatures. That we take care of ourselves, one another, and we build. You never know. You might just rely on it one day. It's very interesting. I'm gonna go because I've got things to get on with, but I actually don't, but I like to think and go and do some other stuff at the same time, and this will be many minds coming together, many minds coming together. But once it starts getting rolling, it starts off as a small snowball at the top of an ice-covered mountain, snow-covered mountain, and you just roll it off, and it begins to get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and when it's going down the mountain, although we want to be going up, ascending rather than descending, but in this logic you get the idea. The dung beetle, the more it rolls, but again, you're not making rubbish. You're trying to build a house, not just a house for you, but a house for all, like the house that's been built for everybody already. Earth, with the tempered star that is not too... Our star is very calm compared to other stars. Do you know that? It's very calm.
It is good for us, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Ought to make use of that, because it won't stay like it forever, nor the earth. the sand is running. Oh, interesting times lay ahead.